politics have been a subject of debate among scholars and the general public for generations. Women in political roles are often perceived as too feminine or emotional, and soft issues are not taken seriously, but these same women are criticized when they are perceived to be overly masculine. Particularly in times of conflict, their actions are scrutinized as being potentially motivated by gender. Women in executive positions and in the legislature all face misconceptions about the role gender plays in political decision making. Recent debate in the U.S. Congress even has us wondering whether some senators think all female legislators spend their time like this.
So, have you seen this proposal for increased budget spending for defense?
I cannot even think about that right now. I'm watching this video. Have you seen it? Look, it's 20 minutes long.
Oh my gosh!
I've already watched it twice.
As our project, we decided to take a look at what role gender plays for women in government who are making decisions during times of conflict or related to policy regarding conflict norms. First, let's take a look at a few more common misconceptions regarding women, politics, and conflict.
Did you get us a bill about defense authorization today?
Oh no, I hate talking about war, it's so confusing.
Yeah, war just makes me so sad. I can't imagine voting on anything like that.
I'll just vote no, and then we don't really have to think about it that long.
I know, it's so scary to even consider.
Yeah, let's just vote no. Peace is so simple and easy anyways.
Sounds great.
Did you get us a bill about defense authorization today?
I did. I was reading it just to make sure I'm up to date.
It's a really interesting proposal. Did you guys read section 17B that I added in there?
I did. So what are your thoughts on the possible effects of the stability of nearby governments if we were going to invade this area?
That's a really interesting question, and I really hope some of this is addressed on the floor today.
Sounds like we're in for some hard work today.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Madam Chancellor, we're considering going to war. What are your thoughts?
I'm stalking Kylie Jenner's Instagram right now. I'm like kind of busy. What do you want?
We're considering going to war, and I was just wondering what your thoughts were.
What? War? Go get me chocolate. I need chocolate right now. Go, I need something.
You're always so emotional when you're on your period.
Leave me alone! Come in.
Madam Chancellor, I just received the press release about going to war. What are your thoughts?
We need to appear strong in this scenario. I need people to trust my leadership, my ability to command. We should go.
Are you sure though?
Yes, we need to strike hard, we need to strike fast. We need to show them we're a force to be reckoned with.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam President, I just had some questions about the defense spending budget you've proposed.
Okay.
It looks like you've cut our defense spending entirely.
Yeah, I don't really care about defense, so that really seemed irrelevant to me.
The whole budget seems irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, didn't people just elect me because I'm a woman and, like, I love peace and, like, I just thought we could all just love each other and just be peaceful. So, you know, defense is really not my area of emphasis.
Madam President, I just had some questions about your defense budget proposals.
Okay.
It looks like you've doubled the amount of spending that was anticipated.
Yes.
Are you sure you want to do that?
I mean, defense is an important piece of my presidency, and we need to make sure there's no weakness in our system. I can't be perceived as weak in this administration.
Although our skits were lighthearted, it's important to note that these were based off of serious stereotypes that many people hold about women in government positions.
There is research that shows that the percentage of women in the legislature does have an effect on defense spending. A 2006 study found that increased presence of women in the legislature decreased state spending on defense and lowered state conflict behavior. The study also found that female chief executives are more likely to engage in conflict behavior and on average spend about double the amount on defense as their male counterparts. This effect, however, is almost entirely erased by an increased female presence in the legislature. This shows that female chief executives are expected to perform masculinity as they take on heightened masculine roles, and they must follow this expectation in order to gain political support. However, with more women in the legislature, this pressure to perform masculinity is lessened.
Research on the impact of female legislators on state conflict is mixed. Some studies find that the presence of female legislators increases states' intervention in conflict. However, this study was focused on how often states intervene in conflicts for humanitarian reasons. So these authors found support for the fact that female legislators will be more willing to use force in order to protect women and children. Other research has found that female legislators are not correlated or associated with any decrease in state conflict. In fact, they found that regimes such as communist regimes are a more important factor than the number of female legislators.
There is also some research that argues that women's presence in the legislature has no effect on defense spending. A study of the 107th and 108th Congresses revealed that women's speeches on the floor were evenly split between hard and soft issues, while men's tended to lean towards hard issues. Women and men of both parties also sponsored an equivalent number of amendments to defense authorization bills. When looking at the Iraq War specifically, women in the Democratic Party were no more likely to vote against the war than men. There was not enough information in the study to give information about women in the Republican Party. This literature also claimed that women's participation in the legislature was more likely to be governed by institutional norms and electoral incentives that all senators face rather than by gender. It's important to keep in mind also that studies like this one, studying women in the U.S. Congress, are pulling from an extremely small sample size, and the data is easily skewed.
Over the past semester, we've been able to discuss the relationship between war and gender, hence the name of the class. And it's no secret to us now, of course, that people believe that women are simply more peaceful by nature than men, and that men are more likely to go to war when they're in positions of leadership. However, just reading through different pieces of literature, we see that there actually is no evidence for this relationship solely based on the idea of nature. Caprioli and Boyer are two scholars that examine the relationship not only between women being in executive leadership roles, but also women being in legislatures and what that looks like for the likelihood to go to war. Between the years of 1945 and 1994, they looked at this data, and they saw that since 1900, there had been 24 states led by females. And 16.6% of these states led by females were involved in international crises. On the other end, they also looked at women in legislatures, and they assumed from the beginning that when there were more women in these legislatures, there would be more gender equality. And as gender equality increased, military involvement would decrease because simply nations that are more committed to gender equality were simply less violent, and they would use less violence. Overall, it's just very hard to analyze the relationship between women's leadership roles and the likelihood to go to war simply because there's just a limited amount of data on female leaders. However, what we can take from all of this is that women can be forceful when confronted with violence and aggression, unlike what a lot of people think.
As our group delved into reviewing the research available on our topic, we decided to take a look at gender in decision-making in a monarchy setting. Queens by Andrilla Dubé examined the extent of female rule on war among European polities over the 15th to 20th centuries. The research shows that amongst unmarried monarchs, queens were more likely to get attacked than kings. However, amongst married monarchs, queens were more prone to be attackers than kings, in addition to being more likely to fight alongside allies. Married queens were also more likely to secure military alliances as a result of their male spouses being engaged in their home country's military matters, as they oftentimes oversaw wars in their countries prior to marriage. Furthermore, queens were more inclined to include their spouses in their decision-making processes. In fact, they would appoint their spouses to be in charge of official state matters. Kings were less inclined to have their spouses hold high positions due to deeply rooted gender norms that viewed women as incapable of fulfilling such roles. In addition, the position of military commander was considered taboo for female monarchs, further emphasizing the notion that women are weak and incapable of making decisions pertaining to conflict. There was debate on the ability of women to lead armies into battles. This undermined the legitimacy of female leaders. As Mary Tudor became queen in 1553, she faced much criticism, as many strongly opposed the succession of a woman. Notorious for his misogyny, King Frederick II of Prussia was known for saying that no woman should ever be allowed to govern anything. According to Dubé, these instances of perceived weakness of women's decision-making during times of conflict suggest that queens may have participated more in wars in which they were attacked by other rulers.
Well, there you have it, just some of the research regarding women in decision making that explains the role women play in many political spheres. Thanks for watching.